The Trump administration seeking to overturn a restraining order limiting ICE operations in Los Angeles. I want to give you an update. I want you to hear a little bit about what's happened. This controversial update, or not an the update's not controversial. The bust at the marijuana growth farm. Listen to this.
Last week at Prairieland Detention Facility down in Texas, we saw similar attacks against ICE enforcement officers. Again, it was highly coordinated attacks. They were wearing gear and had rifles as well. This was 10 individuals. But I will say, in those California raids, particularly disturbing the number of politicians that came out and continue to villainize and attack and demonize our ICE law enforcement officers. At that particular operation, David, at those marijuana facilities, our ICE enforcement officers found 14 children, 10 who were unaccompanied. They were likely being exploited, potential slave or forced labor, potential child and human trafficking. So this is something that is incredibly disturbing. It goes far beyond politics. And not only were there 10 unaccompanied children at that marijuana facility, but we also apprehended 361 illegal aliens with heinous rap sheets that include kidnapping, child molestation, rape, serial burglary, hit and runs. These are no people who should not be in our communities illegally, much less around innocent children.
So that's just part of the update, and I guess we're hearing that our Attorney General is jumping into the fray on Congress making a law that would disallow ICE agents from wearing masks. This is, first of all, it's absolutely ridiculous that this is happening the way it is. I want you to hear the mayor, Mayor Wu. This is, I believe, is it Philadelphia, I think. She is talking about ICE agents. Listen to what she had to say.
I don't know of any police department that routinely wears masks.
I know every police department I know has had officers in masks. I'm going to tell you one quick anecdotal story. I used to coach high school football in Southwest Florida. And then after I was done coaching, my brother was done playing. For a couple of years, I was a scout, which meant I would go and watch the team. We were going to play a week down the road. So I would drive across the state of Arizona and I would watch teams and I would chart their plays and look for tendencies at what those teams were doing to kind of give us an upper hand on this. I had to travel to Palm Beach County, and I can't remember what the name of the school was, but I'll think of it in a moment. And it was in a really rough neighborhood. And the visitors' bleachers actually were right next to the sidewalk in the street. And it was a main thoroughfare, a main road. And it was such a tough area that they had deputies, canine officers patrolling with dogs. And they would patrol and walk inside the game to make sure that there were no fights or no problems that would break out. And every time I would go there, and I'd been to that field probably 4 or 5 times, every time I went, there was at least 2 of the deputies. They weren't necessarily canine officers, but at least 2 of the deputies had masks on. They had ski masks on. And I asked why, and they said because they do undercover work. And they don't want to expose their identity because they do undercover work. Well, in this case, here's a headline. Group raising cash to stalk ICE agents as violence against agents skyrocket. A new Democrat-leaning activist group, and I don't care about your political leanings. It doesn't matter to me, but that's the way it's written, has raised more than $750,000 for a mobile response team to confront Immigration and Customs Enforcement during ICE raids in California as agents face increasing violent assaults. The organization's called Save America Movement is asking for donations so its team can follow ICE raids in real time. So we know that violence against these officers has gone up 700%, I think is the number. But why? This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. If you are, I keep saying this, if you don't see them, because it doesn't affect you probably. But when gang officers, narcotics officers, undercover cops hide their identity as police officers all the time, and when necessary, hiding a witness's identity. Not all witnesses have their identities hidden, only the ones that are in danger. This topic of immigration enforcement has become such a political football in this country that nothing is off limits. There is no common sense left. None. ICE agents are being attacked. If you saw that raid on that marijuana farm, you saw officers being pelted with rocks, their cars and their truck and van windows being busted. And you're going to say they take the masks off. It's absolutely insane.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch and listen to the new season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.